This is Simon Torres, Arsenal supporter of Charm City Gooners. You are listening to DU Football Show, and I'm here to tell you that it could be worse. You could be an Everton fan.
Oh, we did okay this weekend.
That's mean. I didn't do that one.
Do you want me to be funny?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like you to be funny.
Why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
I don't know why.
She kept running away from the ball.
Okay.
I'm going to report that for harassment.
Abby, let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Sam Houston? Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of Malört. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Drunken United! Drunken United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League is told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way, back with his favorite trusty cup, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, not bad, thanks.
Good. I did ask you right as you were getting ready to sip. I guess you thought I was going to fill longer. Like, I typically don't. You know, I make the line and then I welcome you. And then when I welcome you, I ask how you doing. Why'd you try to take a sip?
I just wanted to take a sip from my cup. That's all.
We're recorded at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your podcast. And of course,
clever.
Stitch us or watch us streaming
Stitch
live
us.
on just to see all this shit. Fucking all this social media shit's driving me insane.
You got so much riz.
Watch us on X.
Yeah, exactly. Watch us wherever you get your streaming services every single Monday night as well. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
You can tweet us on X if you want at DU Football Show. Yep, more of that, please.
Extra buttons.
Yeah, it's actually at DU Football DU Show. It's actually at.
We are fucked up.
Do you guys just want to reset and do it all over again?
No, this is brilliant.
It's at DU Football Show on all the social medias, of course, including X. And dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Let it go in forever in lore. The moment that all three of us fucked up
in one sentence.
Like normally it's like me and then you guys mock me and then like later on in the show you all fuck up and I have to point it out. But it was like just everybody was
just like bam, bam, bam.
It'd be like, oh, you fucked up? I can fuck up better than you. No. I can fuck up even better.
Hey.
No, I'm the king of fuck ups.
Christian Taylor, I'll do your work for you. Spider-Man meme, make it happen. I fucked up. No, you fucked up. No, you fucked up.
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, got to clean out that closet because we got more whiskey to bring in.
More whiskey coming. That's
what we
absolutely
drinking
right.
tonight?
So we've got Aberlour's Highland Single Malt Scotch Whiskey, a Bunad. Matured in Spanish Oloroso sherry butts, bottled straight from the cask at 61.1% by volume. That's 122.2 if you're counting at home. This is batch number 58, non-chill filtered. Highland Single Malt Scotch. It is fucking delicious. I really like, up until, I don't know.
It's like 3 years ago, I think it was on the top 20.
Say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I'd never really even seen cask strength single malt available.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a result of kind of the bourbon boom and the single barrel at the retail level that a lot of people were doing.
Yeah.
That Scotch went, oh, fuck, we're kind of being phased out. Almost like the invention of Monkey Shoulder was because Jack Daniels was taking over the UK.
Right.
Where they go, we need something sweeter that's mixable. So let's blend single malts together to find this profile, and Monkey Shoulder was created, right? So I don't know if they're like, we're losing American market share because of this bourbon boom and this cask strength and single barrel kind of landscape that we live in. But now, I mean, what do we have? 2 single malt scotches at cask strength on this year's list. We've also, and then this one obviously from a few years ago, all of you did a barrel pick of Glenackie.
Still got that
as
in the
well.
closet.
Yeah, which was a cask strength. So that's been actually really cool to see. And then also I've got that cask strength cognac. So I wonder if that's a trend in Europe now that wasn't there before. Obviously, I'd never seen a demand for it or even seen them in the wild. And now all of a sudden we have like 5 or 6 different that we can get our hands on every day almost.
Macallan had discontinued their cask strength.
Right.
To be able to keep up with the demand of 12 and 18.
Right.
That they just stopped making their cask strength altogether. And now, yeah, you're right. The Scottish whiskey at cask strength and small spoiler alert, a lot of that on this year's top 20 list.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
There's at least 2 of them.
Yeah, a lot. And also worth mentioning, by the way, everybody, just a little bit of a humble brag here. We need 3.
Yeah.
Because
we've already got 17 of them handled.
Allow us to say, as we always say, never, ever doubt our ability to get something that we fucking want.
Yeah.
My boss asked me about it this morning. I was like, yeah, that's where we're at. She was like, Jesus. And I was like, yeah, I've already got lines on all 3 of them too, so we should be good.
Yeah. The first, and that's 17 in hand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 16 in hand, 1 in the mail.
Yep. So, no, it's not, Sam.
It's actually Maryland legal because it's
not available here.
A product that's not available
perfect.
here,
All
and
right,
it's
good.
bought through a retailer, so it is actually completely on the up and up legal.
All right, dope.
Bought it from the distillery directly.
Awesome.
Yep.
Say allegedly it's in the mail.
Yeah. No. It's in the mail.
For the YouTubes of the world.
Allowed to be in the mail. It depends on the state you live in, what your laws are in that state, and in the state of Maryland where we are, you can have things ordered in as long as it is not readily available in Maryland.
Right. It's like, Mel, get the credit card ready. We're going to need to pay for that blue tick to stay on X. Sam throwing out all this illegal activity.
Heard.
Oh, no. If you do something illegal, they give you a blue tick on X.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's the new thing.
Remember.
Grifters delight.
Remember. The man who said the frogs are gay is back on X.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The Musketeer let him back in, didn't he?
He sure did.
Wow.
But
And that's why you can now find us on Threads.
It's just the video's really skinny.
So, this is a lovely whiskey. Like I said,
It's
I want to say it was
delightful. It
from
really
about
is.
3 years ago. I
Yeah,
recall it was right around $1.50, but well worth it.
Even if they are just sherry butts, they still imparted a ton of flavor.
Oh, it's very rich with the sherry.
Yeah, it's
This is-
excellent.
This
Despite it not being a full
screams-
barrel, because sherry butts obviously are just the end of the barrel.
Yeah.
That get the cap and the bottom that go on. Were just sherry, and then the barrels are actually agitated a bit more, so they do interact with those butts a bit more. But
So you're saying the butts twerk?
yeah, as they should. Dance, bitch.
Just watching on the video, you look at the butts and you go like that. There's a little butt dance.
What else should we always do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to tip your waitress. I mean, drink responsibly.
Heard.
The one bad part is it doesn't ting good.
Yeah, that's all right. We got 2 glasses. We'll make it ting.
I got gray sweatpants on to see my ting.
I'm gonna say we're about to talk about ting tings too.
This is where I fade out.
We open with 2 clubs that are red hot when just a few weeks ago there were major concerns for both. Bournemouth 3, Manchester United 0, Fulham 5, West Ham 0. Cherries are on fire right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other part is they didn't need to be as good as they were to beat United.
Oh God, no, they didn't.
United were that bad. Honestly, the Bournemouth came in and pretty much dominated the game, in my opinion.
What is it that Bournemouth's doing differently? Is it finally the system's working?
Yeah, I think so. Something clicked. They finally get it. He was obviously the second manager to use the trust the process slogan, but he did, and he's a philosophy-based manager. And what do? Do you double down or do you get somebody into Firestorm? The owner stuck with him after that initial 11 games or whatever. In the last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been playing excellent. They saw something in the performances that were worth sticking to.
Yeah.
And it's all coming good now.
And all relatively easy goals for them.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I mean, and Solanke, you expect him to be somewhere between 6 and 10 a season or so.
Yeah.
I think he's already got 7, and we're not even to Christmas yet.
Yeah.
So as long as they can stay fit, I mean, I think now that they've been through that shaky period to start, they're going to be easily comfortable.
Yeah, I do not disagree. Now, Eric Ten
Problem
Hag.
is there's going to be a manager vacancy here soon, and the two that I'd be worried about are Areola here and Unai Emery. Because Ten Hag, as you're about to say, is in the hot seat.
Well, here's the thing, though. So he wins Manager of the Month, and now people are calling for his job. But then you start to listen to some of the commentators and everything, and for the most part, United's like, we're not making a change. We've made too many changes. Like, we need to worry about the ownership changeover.
Exactly, that is part of it is the ownership change. Part of it's they got a ride or die Champions League game on Wednesday with Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And then they also have the I think it's on Wednesday. I said that out loud, and I'm not sure. It might be Tuesday. No, this game was this game Saturday or Sunday?
This game was Saturday.
Then it might be Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then they've got Liverpool the weekend.
Yeah.
And do you want to make a change in the biggest week of your club season? Probably not. You can't. So that may be the only thing saving his job. It could be the ridiculous bit about the owner coming in and only buying 25% of the club and being given the reins to the entire footballing side of it. He may want Ten Hag, or he may come in and say, I'm negotiating with the guy I want, so you've got 2 games to convince me otherwise. Right. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, who knows? Who really honestly knows?
And until the takeover's done, do you want a caretaker for, an undisclosed amount of time, 6, 7, 8, 9 games?
No, you don't.
You don't. You want a caretaker manager for a game or 2, so they can't make a move until that ownership thing is done.
What is so just baffling and makes you want to bang your head against the wall is we talked about how fucking counterfeit goddamn United is and how unconvincing their wins were. And then they go off and they have a great game. I mean, a great game against Chelsea. And ultimately, we could say Chelsea's a very young team and there's a lot for them to improve upon. But they really took it to them. And they're just like, really? This is what you're going to fucking offer your home supporters? A game like this against Bournemouth? Like, the first mistake you make, they score a goal and you just give the fuck up.
And it was only 5 minutes in.
And
but that's indicative. That's indicative of a lot of the players' attitudes that we've seen.
Yeah,
they've all got such chips on their shoulder for being United players that they're not playing for the shirt. It's atrocious.
Do you think that it's, because we look back at players like Pogba and Ronaldo, and then right now Bruno Fernandes. Now we knew Bruno Fernandes coming in was a bit of a prick, and we knew Pogba was a bit of a prick, and we knew Ronaldo was self-absorbed.
King of the pricks.
Right, just very self-absorbed. But you look at all of that, and are they becoming pricks because they're coming in and playing for United? Or does just United only look at talent and not think for a second, hey, these guys might be pricks?
I don't even think they look at talent necessarily. I think talent is secondary to commercial value. United's worried about selling shirts.
It's insane. It's fucking insane.
Yeah,
man.
which is why they have a collection of personalities that don't get on. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And the whole Jadon Sancho thing is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
You know, but and Martial, he's gonna end up being Manchester United's all-time appearance leader after 24 years with the club or something, because he's perfectly content just. Sign a new contract. Fuck it. They're going to keep paying me. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Score a few goals a season.
Because he keeps having to come in because they keep splashing cash on players that are dog shit or that are only potential and don't actually come good, that they end or fall out with the manager, that they inevitably end up bringing them back into the team.
Back to the Cherries here. Do we think they're safe now?
I mean, not officially.
Right.
Because the only 3 teams that are officially safe are Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal.
Right.
That have got the requisite points.
So,
but I think they're well on their way to safety now. I think there's this platform to build from, and I would start to worry. If you all lost this weekend, I would have began to worry.
Yeah.
That they're pulling away, and there's now another team that you can't overtake, that you can't drag back into it.
Right.
But the fact that Luton ended up losing again, which obviously we'll come on to later in the show, and now you've created a bit of distance for yourselves. I think Bournemouth can absolutely, start to think that they're safe. But if they get complicit, they could get, or complacent rather, they can drop right back into it.
Because especially just think about them. Just 3 weeks ago, we were talking more like 4 or 5 now, because they've been good on the bump here for a while now. But we were talking about how they were absolute dog shit with the 3 teams that got promoted. And you were just like, that was right when Everton had gotten the point deduction. You're like, well, Bournemouth's dog shit, you know? And they have completely turned it around recently. It's just very interesting to see.
Absolutely.
All right.
It is. I got a piece of correspondence real quick.
Oh, sure. Shoot.
My good friend Bill, one of my coworkers, texted me, said, I'm old, so I'm heading to bed, but just finished my first 20 minutes ever at DU Football Show.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Love
I
it.
need to start watching football. Chat soon. Good night. I said, all right,
Love
bud.
it.
Good night.
Very good. Very fucking good.
Yeah, awesome. So he won't hear this until he listens tomorrow, but...
Fulham, 16 goals in their last 4 matches and back-to-back 5-0 wins.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's the curse of the commentator, isn't it?
Yeah, well, of course.
It's
yeah. Graham gave Fulham all the motivation they needed.
yeah, of course.
There's a question from the chat.
Oh, sorry.
Are
Yeah.
you ready for that?
No, yeah, sure.
Jay wants to know, can Fulham beat Newcastle 5-0 this weekend, or do we have to wait until the next home game against Burnley on the 23rd?
I think as tired as Kieran Trippier looks, I think y'all can win 6-0.
And also the fact that they got to play Milan at home at Champions League, and then the week after that they got to play Chelsea in the League Cup in the quarters. Like, I'd say Fulham probably going to get a couple. Don't look now. The marquee matchup of the League Cup is Fulham at Everton.
Yeah.
That's the marquee matchup now of the quarterfinals of the League
100%.
Cup. They are absolutely the 2 most informed teams in that part of the tournament.
But look at Fulham, you know, or look at Newcastle rather. I'm sorry, and how shattered the backline looked. Mm-hmm. Right, that's going to be a huge part of when we cover that game. Is how just fucking run into the ground everybody is because of all their injuries and not many people coming back. They just got their first 2 players back in Sean Longstaff and Callum Wilson this weekend with their cameo appearances, but they're in trouble unless they get some help. They're in trouble, and that Fulham could absolutely benefit from that. Do you want to know the stat I heard today about Fulham's back-to-back 5-0s?
What's that?
At home, is that is the first time Fulham have scored 3+ goals in consecutive games at Craven Cottage since October of 1961.
Wow.
Yeah. And 16, I actually did this math. They have scored, hold on, I wrote it down to make sure I didn't forget it. 16 goals in their last 4 or 5 games, whatever it is. They've scored 26 for the season. That's 65% of their goals for the season were in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
And they now only have 3 less than Spurs goals scored on the season.
Wow.
And Spurs were top of the table for all about 8 minutes.
Yeah, so much for Fulham can't score goals.
Right. Well, see, now what I will say about Fulham is I'm happy for them that Jimenez came good again. Looks like he's getting his confidence back, and he is going to continue to score goals. What I do worry about for Fulham, and especially for people like Jay, is it's been a while for you, but if you can remember back to when you were a young teenager and you discovered your pee-pee for the first time, and you discovered that when you made a certain action, it felt good. Right. And then for the next 2 weeks, that's all you fucking did anytime you went in the bathroom. So I'm worried that Fulham may have, let's say that the net might become a bit crusty. and then once they realize what they're doing, they won't touch it again for a while because they're ashamed of themselves.
Like Copper, the old Red Rocket, just laying in the corner licking themselves. I will say
fucking
something.
Scabs all down the side of it and shit.
Something that's worth mentioning for Raul Jimenez finally scoring goals. I wonder if maybe that's because of the partnership with Iwobi, because Iwobi has seemed to get bed in now with this Fulham side, and he's playing in half spaces that seem to be opening up a lot of opportunity in front of goal.
Yeah,
almost every goal that happens, he might not be the assist guy, but it starts
he's involved
with him.
somehow. Yeah,
always him.
So he's playing almost like a hybrid, it seems, between Pedro Neto and Ruben Neves, which is when Raul Jimenez had his best days at Wolves, when both of those guys were fit. Neto would be able to stretch the game. Ruben Neves would control the middle. Iwobi seems to do a little bit of both from time to time, depending on how the play's going and what he's being asked to do, because he is relatively quick, despite him starting to get a little bit older. And he was never the fastest player, but he's quick enough to get away from people.
Quick with the ball.
Yeah, and very quick with the ball, absolutely. And his passing range is decent. And now he's also scoring goals as well, which is huge. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right to say that he's kind of been the linchpin and the key, but he's allowed that freedom again because they have the foundation. João Palhinha and that back line are decent.
Yeah.
They're good, and that's why I wasn't necessarily concerned for Fulham if they started to score goals, which they have now. Because defensively, they're sound. That they've got that locked down, and that was the annoying bit and why I had to continue to harp on the 1 point. It's the only point I had.
Right. That's fair.
Because
Very
defensively, they're good. You know what I mean? So it was, now if Paulinho were to get sold in January or get hurt, he could be in trouble and lose every game 5-4 now, apparently.
What the hell was that, Irons?
I think they are also a little tired. They haven't had a lot of rotation in that team. Paqueta looked like he was playing with lead in his socks. He was not able to stretch his legs at all, and he's not fast to begin with.
No.
But they looked very bogged down. They really miss Mikel Antonio. If the little tricky shit doesn't work with Jared Bowen, they seem to be a little bit bereft of ideas. Sometimes you just need the battering ram. And with Mikel Antonio hurt, I mean, he occupies so much space and so much of the center back's mind that they inevitably end up fucking up. And even if he doesn't score, that gives the space to Jared Bowen to be able to find and Paqueta to find and find the back of the net. Getting him back will be huge for them. It also doesn't help Areola being hurt and Fabianski having to play more than a game or two in a row.
Right.
Because we've seen, he's a bit older now as well. He's starting to kind of waver. And I was a Fabianski fan always. And anytime Smokey would down him, I'd text him and be like, "Hey, bro, look at those four saves today. Like,
he
fucking get off his nuts."
Year. He was stellar last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely stellar.
But he is starting to be shaky from time to time, and he's a good backup. But now at this stage of his career, that's all he is. So if he has to play for an extended period of time, inevitably you're going to get some mistakes. And I think 2 of Fulham's goals may have been his fault in this one.
Yeah, don't disagree.
So it's a difficult situation. But when Antonio comes back from injury, and West Ham are able to properly play how they like to play, and then Areola comes back, I think they're going to be a bit, they're going to be comfortable again. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, injuries, that is something we're going to be talking a lot about because there's the only teams. There's so many teams that are just decimated right now.
Absolutely.
Now we turn our attention to another 2 clubs who have had amazing weeks at their home grounds. Villa 1, Arsenal 0, Everton 2, Chelsea 0. Villa fuck City and Arsenal in the same week.
I'd be worried for Villa next week.
Me too.
Because they've expended a shit ton of energy in these 2 games.
And they're on the road even though Brentford is decimated with injuries right now, Brentford is very fucking hard to beat at home.
Right
the
now,
Brentford Community Stadium is very difficult.
I'm on a little bit of a hot streak, so I got to take my jacket off.
Oh, look at that. Mel's new kit.
Well done.
Yeah.
Much better now.
Good job.
Thank you.
Don't eat chips and salsa in that thing.
This match,
bright white.
This match
Porter
was
beer.
Still on the ceiling.
Feisty, man.
Yes,
this
it was
feisty match.
It was. It was actually a bit sloppy from both teams. There was a lot of giveaways in midfield. I think Arsenal actually played very well, to be honest with you. And if you play this game 9 more times, Arsenal win 7 of them. We had more chances. We had more chances on target. We had more of the ball. I wouldn't call it a smash and grab. I'd call it 2 good teams duking it out. Yeah. And Villa happened to come out on top. On a different day, Odegaard puts 2 of those away.
Right.
That the first one, especially right on the penalty spot when Jesus dragged it back to him, he doesn't try to shift it to his left foot. He hits it first time with his right. And Emi Martinez at that point stranded. He took too long to get rid of that ball.
He gave Martinez a chance to kind of set his feet.
Right. And as soon as he puts it on his left foot, you know which way he's going.
He knows where he's going.
Especially with 2 players on him. He had 2 defenders on him. Yeah. So it made that save very, very easy. But John McGinn, I mean, it was a great move from Villa overall. I think it was 15, 16 passes or something in the build-up.
Oh yeah.
That entire play was just wonderful to watch.
And then it was great feet from McGinn. I mean, the collection of the ball was a perfect first touch. The turn, and that touch set him up for the first time strike with his left foot. Right after the turn, it was excellent, and good form. But whatever. like when we lost to a last-minute City winner in March or whatever it was last season to Rodri at the Emirates. So I'm completely proud of the team still. Like, it was a good performance. It was fine.
Right.
It just, it just wasn't our day.
Oh.
So, it's one of those things. It just is what it is.
Villa is hot at home right now.
Yeah.
We're 15. We're on a 15
That is a
winner
club
streak.
record as well.
Yeah, except for that League Cup match you lost against Everton.
But it doesn't count.
It's not in the league.
It doesn't matter.
I know, just reminding
She
you
just
that
he just wants to be happy about.
In that little spot there, you did lose one.
You're so
it just
cute.
didn't
Like the
count.
little kid going, hey, I'm here.
Hey,
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's only childing us, Mel. This is our time. This is our segment.
Since you pointed that out to me, I can't unsee it.
So
supposed to
yeah,
pour
it
him
was
his Malört.
it was a good game overall, and Villa played very well, and they were good value for money for their win.
It was two very different performances.
Emmy started wasting time at about 41 minutes.
Hey, good on him. That's how you do it.
Smart keeper.
We will call that a Pickford.
Yeah,
or just a Newcastle because that'll
That's right.
Go to the bottom of the shield.
the
been a while since I had to
bottom of
pour-
the legs.
It's been a while since I've had to pour one of these.
I
Pouring
don't lose
for
it. We
Mr.
don't lose
Graham.
very often.
I tell you, I think the differences
you.
in this match versus the City match was the City match was an absolute masterclass of probably the best game Villa could have ever possibly played.
Mm-hmm.
And they won. This one they won because it wasn't their best match, and they just figured out a way at home with the crowd behind them
get it done.
Get it fucking done.
Yeah, and that's the mark of a good team. I mean, we've said it time and time again between, our little bit of a collapse last season and versus City. You have to win in different ways. So a lot of managers get stuck into this philosophy idea of we have to play this way. There's plan A, and then there's plan A.
Right.
And there's nothing else. With Unai Emery, and it's actually quite strange. He's in his 50s. He's long in the tooth as a manager in general. He changed his tactics completely up with the same personnel.
I wanted to point that out.
He didn't change a single player.
It was incredible to watch. I felt it happen. It was about the 55th minute in the second half, and it started when Watkins and
Leon Bailey.
had an issue. Goal was coming in.
Oh, yeah, they had the ball.
And Cash ended up saving it out. There was a little bit of a disrupt. And then there was a misstep, and then you just feel the shift. Like the energy shifted in Arsenal's way, and the momentum started coming. And within 8 minutes, Unai made some I don't know what changes he made, and we stopped it. Like you could feel Arsenal was pushing and pushing, and they were going to score. And somehow we changed the tactics and countered that. That is what impressed me the most about the entire game was changing tactics midstream.
Now, a great point, by the way.
Bringing it back to the penis.
Let's get no, hold on, just whatever.
Speaking of midstream,
Yes.
do you know why you can't hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom?
Why?
Because the P's silent.
There he is, pulling up his goddamn joke machine again. You're getting abbied. You're getting abbied. Abbied.
There just wasn't a lot funny this week, so I figured
All right.
I'd have the dad jokes pulled up
Before
just in
you-
case we stalled out a little bit.
Before you throw down the shot of Malört, let me go ahead and ask this question because this will be much like a shot of Malört. The ending, what do we think?
The ending.
What about it?
Oh, that.
Wasn't a goal. It was messy. It was a handball.
Could have been a penalty first because it hit Matty Cash's hand first.
Did not.
It did.
Hit the back of his sleeve. I'd say the old Rodri rule. His back was turned.
No,
and hit
as,
the back of the sleeve.
as it came down,
And
it
you
hit his
do
arm.
see Cash go, oh, I'm going to grab the ball.
He did
No,
almost
I'm
make
not.
a save.
Like, I could see it, and I'm like, oh, and then he stops. No.
So I'm annoyed that anything was given because of the it hits Matty Cash first. What's Havertz supposed to do? His hands weren't in an unnatural position. It's not like he was standing there like this,
Right.
blocking it or whatever.
I mean, he did manage to let it hit like every part of both of his
Three
arms.
times. It hit him 3 times because it's careening back
It was
and
a
forth.
pinball machine.
It's ridiculous. But that's the way the handball rule's written.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
know-
ultimately I was going to get at is that is the way the handball rule is written.
now,
It's a
if he
handball.
was not the one that put it in, I think if Eddie and Ketia put it in,
might have been able to argue
They
it.
might have been able to argue it a bit more, but you can't, even accidentally, can't have it touch your hand and you be the immediate player that gets the touch and puts it in the back of the net.
And
now, what I would say is Eddie took a swing at that ball, and by my watching of the replay, it's inconclusive who touches it. So I think there is an argument to be had. But as the rule's written, if Havertz was the one that touched that ball, it can't be allowed even if the handball was accidental, which it was, all three of them,
right,
because of the proximity of the two players.
I was going to say the exact opposite is because the call on the field was a handball, there wasn't anything clear and obvious to say
To overturn it. That's fine.
Nketiah was the one who touched the ball.
Right.
Ultimately.
Well, that's it, because the video, like I said, was inconclusive.
Yeah.
But so if they had given the goal to begin with, I don't think they could have overturned it.
No, I agree. Actually, very much agree with that point.
So
that's how it would have been. They would not have been able to.
But what it boils down to at the end of the day is it's a shit rule.
Yeah.
It's a shit rule because nobody meant to do anything that happened there, and nobody was unnaturally bigger or made a motion towards the ball. It was a fucking pinball machine. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
I don't like that the referee stops the game when the ball hits them now. In our day, they were just part of the field. Too bad. Play on.
Right.
Don't hit me.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that annoys me now that it's a drop ball.
Fair.
But so it's a shit rule. But as the way that it's written, yes, you have to disallow the goal. But I think some common sense needs to come in there. You know, and the goal should have stood. In our day, the goal would have stood. But that's every year. There's a new iteration of the handball rule. And nobody knows the fuck it means anymore.
But it was also not called a goal initially. It was
Right.
called a handball initially.
Right.
You know, that's I think that's where it ultimately lays out, is that it was called a handball right away. That kind of belongs.
I don't know that it was right away either. I think it took him about 15, 20 seconds to actually call it. He had a good old think about it.
It was a mess of arms and legs and body parts. And, you know, do you know what goal wasn't controversial? John McGinn's slapper in the first 10 minutes.
All right.
Take your shot.
I don't know. I thought it was a little unoriginal.
Laughing at his own jokes while doing a shot of Malört.
You know, Taylor Thompson
remember
says, you're right, it is unfair. John McGinn's ass is unnaturally bigger.
Now that's clever.
Very good.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been able to move Gabrielle out of the way like that, just because he's like Shakira and his hips don't lie is not fair.
I listened to the McGinn presser afterwards, and I'm like, I can't understand anything he's saying. Let's put on subtitles. Yep, subtitles. Can't understand anything he's saying.
Inaudible.
Yep, a whole lot of that.
There was one time in an interview, somebody asked him his favorite food, and this is how dense he is, right? He just goes, Chips. It's like, it's the old Ross Barkley Crayon Club. This guy, he's got a firm subscription.
Sounds about right. Fuck your 10-point deduction, Premier League.
Right.
Everton's gotten back 9 in 4 games.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's huge.
Again, Goodison, a fucking insane asylum. Absolute insanity. I think this
It's been a
was
fucking cauldron.
those kids weren't ready for what that building was gonna be.
No.
Not at all.
Not even the South American ones this time.
Yeah, they Chelsea came out early, had a great shot, but Pick was right there to make the save. And then after that, what is it about this team that is just different with Dyche ball? Because they find themselves with maybe 30 to 35% possession of a match, but they outshoot their opponents.
Well, they're better players than he had at Burnley.
Yeah, but just it's insane, this kind of style
that's
they're
the
playing.
thing is they had better players than they did at Burnley. So Dyche ball becomes more effective as a result of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was a proper Chelsea got Dyched.
Yo, God, yeah.
I mean, this was big time. It was like, oh, you want the ball? Take the ball. That's fine. We don't need the ball that much.
Yeah, you'll fuck up and we'll take it away from you.
And that's exactly
And
what they
we're gonna
did.
have lots of
How
opportunities.
about Dwight McNeil finally, a little peach fuzz mustache becoming a man? I like that. He's doing very well
Yeah,
with his patchy weirdo lives in his mom's basement beard.
Yeah. One thing to look at Chelsea real quick is Reece James goes off in the 20th fucking minute, man.
Yeah.
It's all the talent in the world with this kid, right? Like everybody gushes over what a great talent he is. They've given him the captain's armband. Getting red cards, or he's fucking hurt all the time.
Yep.
Like hurt all the fucking time. Like that's got to be just decimating to that team, especially when.
Well, he's also quite experienced,
right? Of
so
the
they
young
lose
players, he's the experienced one.
Yeah, so they lose the experience that he's had already. He's played Champions League games. He's played, in the FA Cup latter stages. He's played in the League Cup latter stages. He's got this experience of the Premier League for 3-4 years. Also, obviously played for England a few times as well, and been on the international stage, and. He could be there as a shining light to some of these young guys. It could be you could be in awe of somebody like Thiago Silva, or Paolo Maldini, or whoever, right? But at 39 years old, is Thiago Silva putting his arm around any one of them kids? You don't know. He could be on the way out. He's done.
He's done.
Paolo Maldini, to his credit, did do that for the entirety of his career. However, I don't know if Thiago Silva's like that. I've never really heard any stories of him, putting his arm around players and making them feel better about themselves. Yeah. His body language on the field doesn't really suggest he's very much of a cheerleader.
No, not one bit.
But he's played every minute for Chelsea this season.
Yeah, well, he didn't play this week. He was
right up until this point.
Yeah,
but it's like, without Reece James, like who are you turning to then?
Right.
In that back line.
Hurt.
Chilwell's hurt also. Another one that gets hurt fairly frequently. So you get gel in his eye. His hair's always perfectly fucking placed. It's annoying. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great performance from Everton again.
How about the second goal for the kid Lewis Dobbin?
First professional goal, period, wasn't it? And obviously first goal for Everton.
He's been with Everton since he was an 11-year-old boy.
And his first goal came at the Gladys Street end, didn't it?
No, it was the other end, unfortunately.
That sucks.
Yeah, because Chelsea did that dick move. A few teams will do it where they'll take the harsh home side in the first half. You're like,
go towards their own fans in the second half.
You're like, come on, man.
Right.
You're the away team. Play the rules. Come on now.
Right.
Play it the right way.
Yeah, I do that at Anfield. I want to see that.
Yeah.
You let them run at the Cop in the first half.
Yeah.
See what they do. Yeah,
see
what they
if
do.
you're down 5-0.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Chelsea is going, if they stick with the manager and actually give him time, which by all accounts they're supposed to be doing, they're going to be, in about 8 years' time, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Because Thiago Silva will finally have retired, and all of those children will finally be fucking adults.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to play.
Yeah.
But it was just a all-around great performance from Everton. I'm also glad that Cole Palmer got that yellow card. I just wish that's done consistently. Mm-hmm. Even though he got up and tried to play on, he did dive.
Oh, God,
You saw him stick his leg out, and then he was like, shit, that's not enough contact. Got up and started running again. And purposely didn't look at the referee. But you could see, now obviously we have the benefit of the replay. He doesn't slip. There was no, he lost his feet or whatever, or even anticipated and changed the movement of his body.
Right.
He didn't anticipate contact that never came either. He went looking for contact, didn't get any, still went down, and then got up and tried to play on. I wish they would do that consistently, but it's fucking pug mold. So we'll never see that for the rest of the season.
Nope. They handed out their one. That's like us back in the days. They would the ref would just decide, okay, I'm going to call one bad throw a game.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, Garfield.
There you go. Called the one. We're going to move on. Finally for Everton, this is we've already been saying this. This is a good team. Like, are they like a top of the table team?
Fuck no, that's Arsenal and Villa.
Right. But are they, but should they be in the discussion for Europe right now if it wasn't for the 10 points? Yeah. Yeah. They're a good fucking team playing a very well-oiled system that is working perfectly for that set of players. Now, what do injuries bring on?
Of course.
What is the, there's all, but in this moment, and it's been even before the 10-point deduction, they've been playing damn near close to perfect.
Yeah, I mean, even in the losses, they were playing well. They just couldn't get the ball over in the back of the net.
In the 3-0 loss to United,
they dominated the game, really.
They had less of the percentage. They outshot United.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's this new version of dice ball is just so weird how it's 0 possession, but all the shots.
Yeah. I do have a quick question for you, and then I want to finish this segment on one final point, taking it back quickly to John McGinn and Emi Martinez, though. But the first thing I want to ask you is how does it feel to be in the special hell this week where your bitter arch rivals Liverpool top the table, and the two people you do a show with every week are in second and third, and you're languishing one spot above the relegation zone? And the way that we all look at you, and then the chuffness with which Russ operates in his life when Liverpool are top of the table. How do you feel right now? How's this special hell you're living in?
Honestly, I could give a shit about any of you guys right now.
Because you're not in the relegation
We're just
zone.
worried about Everton fucking not pulling in Everton. That's all we give a shit about.
Yeah.
So your final thought.
Okay, my final thought, Mel, is I got from an English podcast I listened to, I did get a bit of a transcript, and it is kind of funny, and I thought about it, but Sam had moved on already. John McGinn was really towing the company line in that post-match. Because he was asked about, are y'all...
I couldn't understand.
Are y'all genuine title contenders or whatever? He says, no, not at all.
No.
We've banned that from the room. We don't speak about that. We don't do that. We're not talking about anything. Then they turned to Emi Martinez and they were like, so were you general title contender? He was like, man, you have to dream. This is amazing. So he just could not fucking help himself. He was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Emmy is gonna fucking Emmy. That is for damn sure. Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Liverpool 2, Palace 1, Brighton 1, Burnley 1, Sheffield 1, Brentford 0, Wolverhampton 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Man City 2, Luton 1, Tottenham 4, Newcastle 1. Ugly fucking match, but the Reds find themselves at the top of the league, man.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm very quickly losing faith in Darwin Nunez being the first choice striker. Where's Cody Gakpo? Bring him back.
Agreed.
He's like Captain Chaos. The dude just, you never know what he's going to do.
No,
and usually it's not great.
No, it's normally wrong. It's normally the exact wrong thing to be doing.
But then that weird shit, like the way he kept that ball alive last weekend that we talked about briefly last Monday, or maybe it was in the midweek. But it was like, nobody would think to do that, which is why it caught everybody off guard. But I don't know that he actually meant to do it. I think he fucked up, and So this dude's weird, man. I don't know.
Very interesting. I definitely think Will Hughes certainly fouled, and then that's why ultimately the penalty got called back outside the box. But just a very interesting turn of events.
Yeah, Will Hughes fouled Endo, and it was that was. But I will say that was more of a penalty, I thought, than the one that was actually given.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think there was a clear and obvious error there.
The
referee seeing that in real time.
Have we seen ever a scenario in which instead of looking at the penalty inside of the box, they go back and they review a missed call on the field?
Well, because Will Hughes, we have, but Will Hughes also tackled Endo, got the ball, made the pass. Foul immediately happens.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Versus penalty gets missed. They allow play for 5 minutes, and then they go, oh, wait a second. We were looking at something. Because that was the first time the ball went out of play.
Fair.
Which is what happened with the second penalty.
It was just interesting to me how that all kind of played out. I don't remember personally seeing that happen before.
Arsenal scoring that goal at United last season.
Oh, okay.
They scored the goal. It wasn't a penalty.
Right.
They scored a goal, but
that's right.
Odegaard got called for the foul on whichever piece of shit United player he tackled, which wasn't a foul either, by the way.
I think it was Eriksson, but yeah. That makes perfect sense. I got you now.
But they have.
I just didn't remember that, so forgive me. That's the only reason why I asked that question.
I would have been, if that was us, if that was Jesus in that position for the one that got given, and given by VAR, I'm perfectly fine with the no call.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a coming together. They're both going for the ball. Sure, he kind of clips his heel as he's kicking through the ball or whatever it was.
The ball's already away at that point.
But the ball was... He made contact with the man in the ball at like the same time, in my opinion. Yeah. And it wasn't a clear and obvious error. The referee saw the action. He physically watched it happen and decided there was no foul. I don't think you should be looking at that.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought that was a bit strange for the Palace goal.
Now, real quick, I do want to mention something I forgot. We were talking about it on injury time, and I was just talking about kind of like the decisions that Palace have been making, and I was like, why the fuck isn't Decore playing? Decore's not playing because he's out for the entire fucking season.
Yeah.
So that's my bad not noticing that. And but I will say the following: him not out there makes a world of difference for. I mean, we talk about how important Eze is. He's equally as important because he allows people like Eze to run around because he holds down the fort. And
you know what? Don't worry. It's hard to keep up with all 20 teams like we try to do, especially knowing as much as we know about our own clubs. I'm going to say this is Brad's fault. You should have been in touch, dickhead.
That's just you wanting to blame Brad.
Of course it is. But that's why I look right down the barrel of the camera with a straight face.
But this is exactly what Liverpool has been able to do is you know what? It's not going your way. Figure out a way to fucking win. They figure out a way to fucking win.
Yeah, I mean that's the stuff of champions is winning ugly, right? And that that's something that we've said about Arsenal in the first few months of the season, where their backs were against the wall and they end up pulling out a result late, like that Luton game. We'd have drawn that last season.
Yep.
We wouldn't have found that winner,
right?
You know what I mean? And then Liverpool, they wouldn't have scored these late goals if their credentials weren't up there.
Right.
Even Villa, winning in two very different ways and very different styles 3 days apart.
Right.
That's against, at the time, the two top teams in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
That's huge. I mean, that you could legitimately say, and then you can never rule City out, especially because they finished so strong, and they still have De Bruyne to come back from injury.
Right, precisely.
At the end of this month, he's supposed to be back in full training. So, they're only going to get better. So, I mean, you can genuinely think that there's 4 teams in this title race now. Yeah, I think Spurs are well and far gone.
Yeah,
I think they're going to drop more points by the time Van der Ven comes back from injury. Yeah. And they'll be pretty much done and dusted.
I think they're still.
But it was fun while it lasted for that 9 minutes.
I think they're still in the discussion for Champions League because I think that ultimately Villa might trail off there towards the end just because they haven't fucking been there before.
Yeah, I mean, it has. It's just been a very long time.
Right.
Very long, like the mid-'80s.
Right, exactly.
You won the league in black and white. You won the league in black and white. You won the league in the 60s.
But you know what they also done? They've won Europe.
Yeah,
twice. You haven't.
No. You know who else have? Forest. I really loved that. Last season, the Forest and City fans singing back and forth inside the City ground. It said, "You weren't alive when the Champions League happened." And said, "You won't be when y'all finally win one." The back and forth chanting between the two clubs was brilliant.
Pretty brilliant. Seagulls end up with another draw, man. And honestly, Burnley had some good chances in this match.
They did. I mean, it just wasn't Brighton's day. Honestly, they had 11 shots on target from 29 total. 29 total shots.
Trafford made a couple of brilliant saves right at the end.
And 72% of the ball. I mean, Burnley really rode their luck in this game. On any other day of the year, Brighton would have won 4-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the goal, I think, was this. No, it wasn't this one. It was Sheffield United where the goal was absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. That was a brilliant goal.
But, and who's Simon Adingra, by the way? I've never heard of him. Have you?
Yeah.
He's the one that gets the goal.
Yep.
It's a lot like Lewis Dobbin.
Yep, just bring him on. Bring the kid. Let him get it one.
These people.
And they had that one chance right near the end that Connor Roberts just missed. But then after that, Trafford with a couple of
very good saves.
Couple of brilliant fucking saves, really.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he should be brought in at United.
And take over for Onana?
Oh, yeah. He should take over the stadium construction too, because he just saves things.
Nah,
New Trafford.
United likes to spend money. They don't like to save money. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What a brilliant goal in the Sheffield match! And
James McAtee, stand up and be counted, son.
Brentford are struggling with injuries right now.
Oh yeah, they're the latest team that's been hit by the injury bug.
We talked about Tottenham. We talked about Newcastle. Their injury list is just as fucking long, and they don't have the bench that those teams have. They are really fucking hurting right now.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah, no, you're having a little trouble there with that sip.
That was a big sip.
It was a big.
It was a big sip.
It was a big sipper.
It was a big sip of cask strength scotch.
But for Sheffield,
I also still have the remnants of my first shot of Malört for 3 months.
You heard. This is what this is what you needed with Wilder coming in.
Brentford were frustrated for large stretches of the game because Sheffield United were busy. They were hurrying them. They were making things very difficult for Brentford to play through their lines. Where was this desire under Heckenbottom at all?
Right, because it's the same fucking players.
Right. And if he had lost the dressing room, which by the effort shown in these last 2 games by Sheffield United, you have to assume that he did. The players weren't playing for him.
Why wasn't he gone sooner?
Why wasn't he gone sooner? That's exactly what I said. These last 2 performances suggest that he had lost the dressing room. Why did they wait so long to fire him? Because they may have dug themselves too much of a hole to get out of.
Yeah, no, I very much agree with that.
Especially with Bournemouth's uptick in form, Everton's uptick in results. Form's been decent. Uptick in results. And negating essentially the entirety of the 10-point deduction in the last 3 games.
They need to hope that Forest and Palace keep falling.
Right.
Because that's the only way you're getting
Why
out.
would you take that long to make the change? What is it? I mean, did they have to scrape together? I mean, they're owned by a sheik. Did they have to really scrape together a couple $1 million to pay off Heckenbottom? Is it that difficult?
I really don't know.
By all accounts, the finances of the club aren't great. I don't know if they're under FFP investigation or not. But they are owned by a guy who's supposedly not affiliated with the PIF posse, but I don't necessarily believe that, of course. But he's a Saudi prince as well. Why? I just don't understand why it took so long to pull the trigger there.
Oh, I agree.
That's not.
I completely agree.
So
I hear what you're saying. You're watching the word, yeah.
But so it's just very strange to me. And I wonder if they waited too long and they're done and dusted anyway. If that hole's too deep to climb out of.
Forrest desperately needed that point. From the way it all sounded,
Cooper's job for the moment.
Yeah, is that Cooper was losing his job if they didn't get a point out of that game.
I know he looks like an alien anyway, right? But did he not look like when they scored that goal? I don't know if you clocked it when they showed him. He was extra squinty. It looked like he'd been crying for about 6 days. His eyes were swollen as fuck.
It was pretty bad.
Walking around like that. It was a very ugly game. Wolves controlled most of it. Again, on another day, I think Wolves walk out of this game 3-4-0 winners.
Yep. Another Cunha goal.
Another Cunha goal, and it was a slick piece of play for a bit.
Find ways to score. Last season when they first brought him up, it wasn't working. But he is definitely found his form.
It was an excellent passage of play from Wolves as well. I mean, there was a ton of passes in the build-up. It was slick stuff. I also think it was very unlucky that Craig Dawson didn't get that cleared off the line, that overhead kick. So Forrest's goal, granted it counts just the same, but they were a bit fortunate there because he got his foot, he made the connection. It was so high up in the goal though that it ends up hitting the backside of the crossbar. If he waited for it to drop a little bit, that ball's at midfield. Yeah, and it's cleared.
Yeah, don't disagree.
So it was a pretty fortunate that Forrest even got that goal to begin with. It really could have been Wolves' day.
Hatters shock City at the end of the first half at Kenilworth Road.
I was shocked by the entire performance.
1-0.
Yeah, I was shocked by the entire performance.
Yeah.
They worked their socks off in that game.
Mm-hmm. Again, just like they did against Arsenal, just like they did against Liverpool.
And Rodri was there for this one.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. No Holland, though, which is interesting. I don't know if he's being rested for whatever reason or if he actually picked up a little bit of a knock or something.
Foot injury is what they've been saying.
I think they lied.
Yeah, could
personally. I think he's been missing a few chances he normally takes, and Pep was a little pissed off.
Yeah. Instead of saying he's giving him a little bit of a break,
instead of giving the press something to talk about, he's blamed it on an injury.
A slight fracture in the foot. He's gonna
he'll be fine in 6 days.
We'll see how he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. But Luton were excellent. It was sloppy by City standards, but Luton really did. I mean, they had a stretch of 10, 15 minutes in the second half towards the end where they were pushing for an equalizer.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And they were playing very, very well. You can't say it's a fortress because of the results, but you could definitely tell the crowd is starting to lift these players at Kenilworth Road, and it's a
boost. It's definitely a boost.
It's a shame that the stadium wasn't ready for the start of the season, and they had that kind of truncated home schedule because the first 5 or 6 games were away. because they were waiting for the stadium redevelopment to get done. But because I think if they had that feeling to start the season, I think they'd have picked up a fair few more points.
Might be in a better position
when they were more of a surprise package. Yeah. If we didn't have 6 games of film from away games to watch before we came here and played you, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no, I love the story. I'm really liking everything about Luton. I wish some results would change.
And whenever you think you want to count him out, there's Bernardo Silva doing it again.
Shit.
Like, the man is fucking timeless.
Yeah.
I'm still reminded of that. This, I want to say it was about 3 seasons ago, the match against Liverpool, where I told you that the entire time I was watching the TV, I never saw Bernardo Silva not be in the screen, and still at the ages that he's at now,
same.
He's fucking everywhere.
He's very efficient.
Play center back. He'll play fucking center back.
He's very efficient.
Fucking do it all.
Yeah.
Does it all.
He is
Absolutely
very efficient with his running too, because there's no way anybody could be that fit. Honestly,
exactly.
So he moves so well without the ball.
Think smart. Richie with the brace, Son with 2 assists and a brace, and complete domination of Newcastle, who frankly, they just look like they need to take a nap, man.
Oh yeah,
they're tired. The boys are tired.
So I don't know if this is inexperience or just stubbornness from Eddie Howe, but after that second goal goes in, and the game's gone, why not sub Kieran Trippier off?
Yeah,
just give him a break.
Because
there's no reason to have him out there and risk injury.
Well, and part of the team that you've got on the bench that are experienced players are defenders. So go ahead and throw a defender out there. Throw Richie out there.
Yeah.
Just let
him a break.
Yeah, give him a fucking break.
Give him a break. I mean, even Joel Linton looked like he was finally coming down from that meth high he had on an international break a few weeks ago. And he's the one that got the goal, finally. Yeah. But I mean, this game basically came down to Spurs having more available first-team players than Newcastle.
Yeah, really.
It's very different if Newcastle have their full complement of players. I think this game is obviously a lot more even. Still a bit of a coin toss, but a lot more even. But Newcastle had a few chances. They had shots. They just couldn't put anything away. Vicario was decent, and they were more half chances than they were proper chances. But
how about this for once? Richarlison? More goals than yellow cards.
Well, the other thing, too, I say about him, this motherfucker, I don't know why he still does the pigeon celebration when he's got that cock on his badge. Because now he just looks like the fucking cock on the ball.
Sure money.
I lost again. I'm now down $147. Measly losing. That's fine. So I'm not terribly concerned. But still down nonetheless. And, my cup of losers is going to say an original 1-0.
Yeah, you have your normal.
Which is also why I wore this, too.
Dort Spirect. There you go.
An original 1-0.
An original 1-0.
So there it is. The old Dort Spirect cup of losers.
All right.
How did you fare, my friend?
I also missed as well because I underestimated how tired Newcastle truly was. So I wrote for my cup of losers, if you bet Spurs to be Spursy, but they aren't Spursy, well, isn't that also Spursy?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
I thought so, too. I was quite proud of that one.
Yeah, pretty good.
But unlike you, I am still up $161.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Could you know that 26.6...
It's still such a bad number.
7% of the time, it works 100% of the time, baby.
That 7 sneaks in.
Right at the end. Just kind of, it just puts an end on it, where the normal 3.3 just kind of goes on. It needs some...
It's still a
finishing
fucking
point.
It's still such a shit number. I love that you're sticking with the bit after 5 fucking years. 5.5 years now.
It is. It's the bit's solid. The bit's fucking solid. I'm going to go ahead and take your boys to win and over 3.5 goals total in the match. So I'm thinking like a 3-1 in my opinion.
Okay.
And and that's at plus 205.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
See how that goes.
Phone cut out. All right. So I've got Pat's email.
And now,
It's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
Feel so bad for him. The email is titled "The Worst Year Ever," and here we go. And I quote. Well, I lost again, and it's getting bad. I'm down $1,375. So this week, I'm not going to try and pick winners. I'm just going to pick overs. So I'll take the over 2.5 goals in the Villa-Brentford match for -140 and parlay that with the over in the Everton-Burnley match for -110. That pays off on a $125 bet at $285. It's not a lot, but guys, I just need a win. I'm starting to get worried. There's no digging my way out of this hole. Let's get through these next couple weeks, and maybe there's some good luck in the new year. Talk to next week for some Christmas bonus check bets.
There we go.
Whatever that means.
Bad ideas.
Yeah.
9-way parlay.
Something, right? I'm not far off. Like I said, I lost last week again, so this week is going to be another story.
Mm-hmm.
Tottenham will beat Forest, and this is me. What do they call it? Affirmations? No. Manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm manifesting, Sam. Tottenham will beat Forest. Chelsea will beat Sheffield United. City will beat Palace. Everton will beat Burnley. And Arsenal will beat Brighton. And I thought plus 671 was a pretty generous offering for that because as they're all favorites.
Okay.
So it's not bad.
Terrible with money.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
You do know that Idrissa Gueye and Jarrett Branthwaite are both out for Everton because of accumulation of yellow cards.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's going to hurt the bet there.
Who were you playing, though? It's Burnley. You're fine.
Burnley will be fine.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, well, you know who else is going to be fine?
Who's that?
The chicken.
Nice.
Well, Kitty hit with the draw and sits at 9-5. So this week, I gave Kitty Chelsea welcoming Sheffield United. Now, Kitty pulled out a photo of her at the $7 million contract signing of Shoshi Ohtani at the LA Dodgers. Now, we know that Todd Bowley owns a piece of the Dodgers and Chelsea. So I'm guessing Kitty's going to pick Chelsea to beat Dublin.
Very good. Well, and we do know Todd Bowley likes to write a check. That's for damn sure.
I love that you didn't correct my pronunciation because you don't know how it's pronounced either, and we're just going to go with it.
Shoshi Ohtani.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you did it correctly.
I actually did it correctly.
Yeah, that's why I didn't correct you.
Do you know what else I'm correct about?
What's that?
Gambling legally and responsibly.
Very good. Well, that's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Mr. Graham, any parting words?
No, not really. I don't think there was much going on.
I got one for you.
Right.
Apparently, in recent time, both at Liverpool and at Everton, away fans will have been kind of making fun of Liverpool as a city, having a little issues with working hungry people. And they will say, feed the Scousers, feed the Scousers.
Like working poor?
Yeah, the working poor. And they'll scream that. Everton, in a fun little way of doing it, with the, famously very, very Tory side, Chelsea was in town, started screaming, feed the Scousers, feed the Scousers. They put up on the scoreboard the advertisement for the local food bank that everybody gives charity to.
Nice. Nice.
And they have said that is intentional and that they did it against Newcastle. They're doing it against Chelsea. And anybody that wants to do that chant, that will immediately fucking go up on the scoreboard.
Nice.
To just let them know that if they're so concerned about feeding the Scousers, there's a charity that they can help out.
You know what that is? That's super akin to, do you remember when, shockingly and terribly, Samuel Eto'o? No. Might have happened to Samuel Eto'o also. But it was actually Dani Alves.
I was going to say Eto'o was in Russia at one point playing for Moscow. So, yeah, it definitely happened.
Well, no, it was both of them were at Barcelona, but I think Eto'o was the one that did scored and then ran over to the away fans and made monkey motions.
Right.
Because they were calling him a monkey all game, which is abhorrent. But I think it was Dani Alves that got a banana thrown at him. Mm-hmm. They picked it up and ate it.
Bananas are nice, full of potassium
Oh, yeah.
and calcium.
You're going to get leg cramps on the pitch. A little potassium would do the trick.
I think he was taking a corner or a throw in, but it was over in that area, like in front of the away fans, and someone chucked a banana at him. So he picked it up, opened it, right? And then tossed it over the advertising hoardings and took whatever action. I can't remember if it was a throw or a corner, but
absolutely brilliant.
yeah, with still chewing. It was fantastic.
Whenever
just absolutely taking the piss out of him.
Whenever anybody wants to punch down, just remind them they're punching down. Let them know the good they can do instead. That's it. That's easy. All right. Well, next up is going to be injury time, where we talk about our fantasy league. We also talk about the beers we've been drinking, check in on our adopted clubs, and preview the weekend's action. Should somebody want to find injury time, Sam, how do they go about doing it?
Absolutely. It's patreon.com/DU Football Show. You just sign up to that brilliant $5 tier, the only one we got. You get all of our extra stuff. So check that out as soon as possible. Help keep the lights on here at the show. I mean, we are to the point where sometimes we have to unscrew light bulbs just to get by.
Exactly. Hang out for...
In fact, we're going to unscrew some light bulbs for the next show because it's going to be darker.
Hang out for...
DU After Dark.
Yeah.
DU does the EFL as well. If you're watching a stream right now, we're going to go ahead and do that show in just a moment. And, of course, for all your holiday shopping needs, go to the DU Drip Shack and buy the flyest gear in the market.
That's right.
Until next week, everybody. Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of Malört. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Drunken United! Drunken United! Hit the fucking mute button!